Hey everybody, it's a Faster Friday, but we're talking about cybercrime this month. In fact, in this video, we're going to look at faster payments fraud in the UK because I see the UK reality as being a US possibility when it comes to faster payments fraud. So what is happening over in the UK when it comes to faster payments fraud? There are some things that are out there to actually help people. How can a bank or a building society actually help a victim of a payment scheme or maybe something that was sent in error in the UK? Well, the banks and building societies in the UK that offer faster payments actually follow procedures that are known as the Credit Payment Recovery Process, something I think we're going to end up with in the US too. That process actually sets out how they help or what they must actually offer to customers that have accidentally made a mistake when sending payments. Now, when the person notifies their bank or the building society that they made an error that appears to have gone to the wrong account, then the bank will commit to take action on their behalf, and they have to do so within a minimum of 2 working days. Now, where the bank finds clear evidence of a genuine mistake, and there's this whole voluntary code when there's fraud and APP is involved too, but we're not going to go there right now. They will contact the receiving bank on their behalf with a request to prevent the money from being mistakenly spent. As long as the recipient doesn't dispute your claim, you will be subsequently refunded of the protected funds, and usually within 20 working days from when you're notified of the bank. It's kind of crazy. They can send it in seconds, but it takes days because we need to do all the research to get it back. Now, in cases where the circumstances of the claim are not clear-cut, the bank will still contact the receiving bank on their behalf. The recipient will be contacted by the bank to ask for consent to debit their account. In other words, if money shows up in somebody else's account, they get called and say, hey, should this money actually be returned? Now, no funds would be removed without that kind of consent. If it is not possible to reclaim a payment that is sent in error, for instance, the recipient disputes the return, well then that person's going to be notified of the outcome, again within 20 banking days. And that's from the point of when the inquiry was started, and in some cases the money gets there back much sooner. If the funds cannot be recovered through the standard process, the bank then gives clear and accurate information on the options that are available, such as actually taking court action against the recipient if it's, the money shouldn't have been going to them. Now, the industry procedures do not change the legal rights and responsibilities of the account holder, of the account holder's bank, or even the recipient of the funds. Anyone that intentionally spends money that does not belong to them in the UK, here in the US too, is actually committing a crime which can be reported to the police. If the account holder doesn't get the service they expected under these procedures, they can go file formal complaints. And if they're still not happy with the outcome, their bank will provide them with information on how they can take the complaint to the Financial Ombudsman Service. Now, these procedures apply to all the banks and building societies that connect to and work with faster payments. In other words, they have a standard that is followed by everybody that is using faster payments. Well, what will happen here in the US? To begin with, if a customer is involved, well then Regulation E is going to apply because it's consumer protection and electronic funds transfers. I truly believe all of our faster payment options are going to fall under that. However, these are push payments. So if the consumer did authorize the payment, then there's little that really can be done on their behalf here. What we've seen done in the faster payment scheme in the UK is a little different than what we're going to see here in the US, but I do believe there'll be some similarities. Again, that code, I'm going to have to do a video on it at some time. I talk a lot about it at conferences. So much of the same eventually will be available to account holders in the US, but not always the same. If you do have something taken from your account, then you do need to contact your institution. And the institutions can talk to each other. When the funds are still there, it is possible they can be returned. Now, I did say if the funds are still there, then they can be returned. I'm not saying they will be. It all depends on the circumstances. What we really need to have, and what I really hope to see from everybody who's going to offer these services, especially financial institutions as well as service providers, is more education. That's one thing that we definitely see in the UK. More consumer education. But consumers aren't the only ones. There's also business email compromise, something I've talked a lot about in Faster Friday. Business email compromise is one way that fraud can start, and then faster payments are used as the channel to move the fraud. You see, in my opinion, all fraud starts before you actually get to the payment channel. It's just the way in which the fraudster uses the funds is usually the fastest option available. I would ask you, as you move into the world of faster payments, a world we all know is coming, what education do you have in place for your account holders, for your end users? That's going to be critical. Thank you for watching. If you got any comments, please, you can message me here on LinkedIn. You can always email me, kevin@paymentsprofessor.com. I look forward to hearing from you and hope to see you again in future videos.